Good afternoon, my name's Becky and I'm joining you from the south coast of the UK. Welcome back. It's been 8 months since my last confession. I have been AWOL for a little while and no real reason for that really, just that I got out of the habit of podcasting and I lost my knitting mojo for a little bit. So for those of you that are new here, this is kind of a yarny based podcast and I talk about other things besides, and sometimes there's some vlogs as well. And yeah, I just kind of got out the habit and then it became overwhelming, and not just for me to record anything but also for me to watch anybody else's podcasts. It just sort of felt like it had been so long and then it was harder to get back into it. But recently I've picked up my needles again and yeah, I wanted to hop back on. I felt really inspired. I've been catching up with a few of you, you know who you are, and yeah, I'm back. Quite a bit's happened actually. I've done all sorts of things. I turned 50, yeah, now an old lady, and I'm celebrating it because I am blessed to have lived to 50 and I have a very contented life. So yeah, so I hit a big milestone. What else has happened? I'm embracing my curls. I found out that I have curly hair. It's been really fine and fly away for ages, and I tried sort of blow drying it and it just kind of like sat there a bit like a helmet. It just didn't move, and then one day I washed it and thought, I think my hair might be a bit curly, so I bought some curly hair shampoo and yeah, now it's curly. So I've had to grow my fringe out because otherwise it looks a bit ridiculous. So yeah, I'm also going with my glasses today because I wear varifocals and I just can't see a thing without them. So if there's a bit of reflection from the window, apologies for that. The other thing is I am in my kitchen because Jack is now living with us, and so yeah, his bedroom is where my room of requirement was. So I am down in the kitchen, so I'm hoping that the fridge freezer isn't humming too badly because sometimes I know that the microphone picks up on that. So yeah, we have to work with what we've got, and I'm back, so yeah, just overlook a few things. So let's start with what I'm wearing. So this is a new finished object. Actually, it's not a new finished object, it's been finished for months, but this is the Tolster tee, which isn't actually a tee, but it's the Tolster by Rebecca Clow, and I have used John Arbon Down the Allotment minis that Jack bought me for Christmas, and I'm using it with this cone, which is Skiddaw Net by Woolly Knit, and I still have a lot left over. This is British wool. It comes in a cone like this, and it's really good value for money if you like rustic yarn. As I said, it's 100% British wool, so it's got a bit of a prickle, but it doesn't bother me. So I held this double along with John Arbon's Down the Allotment minis, which I will put a picture for you here. I've actually got another set because I bought a set of those minis, and so I've still got a set left, but the colours are just gorgeous. So I used all the colours and I absolutely love it. It's kind of a bracelet length. Quite often I put my sleeves up and they go really nice with my Lucy and Yak dungies. So I'm very happy with that one. The other finished object I have is my Eclair sweater, which I was working on my last podcast, which was in January, and this is a pattern by Laura Penrose, and here it is. It is gorgeous. This yarn is so lovely. This is Peruvian Highland wool, Ficalana, and it is in the colourway Burnt Sienna. It is not that bright, but at least you can see the cable. So it's got cables down the front, cables down the back, and it's a raglan affair, but it's actually quite dark. It's quite a dark rust. So yeah, absolutely love it. Love the yarn. It's got a really nice drape to it as well. So really affordable. Quite often I notice, just making sure I'm in focus, yes. Quite often I notice that a lot of podcasters kind of use the expensive hand dyed, which has a place and it's beautiful, and I appreciate why it costs that much. But actually there are some really nice affordable 100% wool yarns out there, so I kind of want to highlight that as well. But absolutely love this. It's going to be gorgeous. It's autumn weather. So excited. Get the knitwear out. It's lovely. I mean, it's that nice time of year where you can go out in your knitwear and you haven't got to wear a coat, so you can just kind of show it off. Although it's throwing it down with rain again today. So in Blighty at the moment, it's just rain, rain, rain. So actually, if I went out in this, I'd come back smelling like an old sheep. But yeah, anyway, it's a lovely time of year. So let's talk about what I'm working on. So I've just got a couple of things on the go. I've still got my June crochet blanket on the go, which will be a long-standing whip. Haven't picked it up for probably almost a year. But I will be picking it up again, just as soon as that temperature drops a little bit more and I want to kind of sit under something. In the meantime, I have been working on a pair of socks, and they're spooky socks. Look at those. So this is a pattern by Stone Knits. It is called, put my jumper on my notes. It is called the Spooky Sock Set. Now I have the book by Stone Knits, and I believe she's got another one coming out very soon. Did I use one of those patterns? No. Of course not. I bought this one, but this comes in a set, so you actually get 2 patterns for your money. I'll pop a picture of the other pattern up here, which I'd really like to do. It's a kind of witchy affair. But this is the spooky ghost one, and I absolutely love it. This yarn is Beehive Yarns. I don't know what the colour was. I was going to make something else, so I kind of lost the label, and it was all sort of caked up. But I thought it'd be a really nice pair of autumny type socks. And for the white, I am using this white yarn here, which I used in a pair of my dad's socks for the heels and toes, and I was really pleased. They've worn really well, I believe. So this is Ficolana Arwetta. So there is the label. Again, really affordable yarn. And this is just in the white. Colour 101. So yeah, so I'm really, really enjoying these socks. They're so much fun. I have started the next one, and actually I wanted to show you because just sort myself out. Clearly out of practice. I just wanted to show you that when you do colour work, especially with a small circumference like a sock, it does bunch up. So here you go. You can see here, it's all bunching up. But once that's blocked, it will all pull and straighten out. Now these look quite baggy on my sock blocker because they haven't got the stretch, because you've got to allow room for those floats. But I just wanted to show you that, yeah, if you're knitting colour work on a small circumference or any circumference in the round, and you're finding that you're getting a bit of puckering, just pull it out just to make sure that it's going to give. So yeah, because I'm not going to lie, these looked a right old mess when they came off the needle, but then once they're blocked, they look gorgeous. The heel, I'm not that happy with the heel. So I did the heel that was in the pattern. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's just my way of knitting. I think it's a tension problem with me. But you can see that this side of the heel is quite neat. But if I turn it, I don't know if you can see that, it's just a bit holy. I'm going to go back to my usual formula, which is an afterthought heel, because that just seems to work for me. And I like cutting a hole in my yarn or in my project. So yeah, so I've got those on the needles. So that's exciting. And I want to wear them for Halloween. Might get 2 pairs done actually in that time, which would be really good. And I haven't actually knit myself some socks for a while. I did a lot of gift knitting last Christmas. I knit my dad a few pairs of socks. I knit some for a friend, and yeah, so I haven't actually knit myself any socks for a while. And I kind of think I quite like something a bit snazzy going on. So I think I could be on a Stone Knits drive. So yeah, if anyone fancies joining me, maybe we could have like a colourwork sock knit along thing going on. Anyway, right, my next project is another pattern by Rebecca Clow, who also has the Crea Bee. Oh, why did I say it? Sometimes I really struggle with pronunciation. Those of you that know me will know. So anyway, Rebecca Clow, I'll link everything down below. She had another pattern out called the Daft Days cardigan and the Daft Days shawl, which is based on the same stitch pattern. And I had some yarn in stash. So I had this, which is the leftovers from my Yule sweater that I knit last year. I'll pop a picture in here so that you can have a look at that. It was an all over colourwork sweater by Susan Crawford, and the base colour was this silver grey, which is a Jameson Smith 2-ply jumper weight, and I have got so much left of it, so I wanted to use that. So I looked in my stash and I thought I want a cardigan that's got a little bit of structure to it, so it's not a jacket but it's not like a loose drapey cardigan. And I also had some of this in my stash. So this is by John Arbon. It is Appledore DK on Billy Down Pippin. Well, that's the colourway, Billy Down Pippin. Again, it's blowing out a bit. It is not quite as bright, but it's like this blue-green. So I thought, well, they go really nice together. So I'm holding this double, holding this single. And I did a swatch, which I will show you. And it's come out like this, which I am super happy with. So I think it's going to look really nice. In fact, against the grey, it looks a little bit more green, but that's absolutely fine with me. So I will show you how far I've got. It's worked from the bottom up, and it's worked flat. So you do have to purl every other row. But this is as far as I've got, and I'm really pleased with it. It's looking really, really nice. It's a really nice texture. Yeah, I think it's going to look great. It's going to look really nice. So yeah, and the rows obviously are very, very long, but that's what I'm working on at the moment. I would also like to knit another cardigan, and I've got a cone coming from Woolly Knit again. I've got a British wool cone in like a reddy colour. It's kind of like this, where's my flowers? It's kind of like this sort of red, a bit more muted, but it's a bit like that. And I kind of want a cardigan in that colour because I think it will go with quite a few things that I have. Yeah. That hasn't arrived yet, so that got sent. It was supposed to come yesterday, and it's got lost. They know where it is. It's been sent to a different hub, so maybe it will come tomorrow. So that is all I am working on at the moment. So I think that's probably like the quickest, podcast episode that you've ever seen me do. But I have been reading, and there have been a couple of other things that have gone on as well that I'm going to chat to you about. So at the moment I am reading Two Twisted Crowns. This is a book by Rachel Gillig, and it's the second book in a duology, and I have found my fantasy mojo. I love a fantasy, I found. Who knew? This is a sequel to another book called One Dark Window, and I really, really enjoyed the first book, and it's quite different. So a lot of books follow a very similar theme, don't they? But this book had a different take on things, and it's kind of based around like a tarot card system. Yeah, I'm really liking this. It's a bit of a romance, but it is an interesting world. So I'm reading that. I am also listening with my ear holes to The Only One Left. I can't remember who it's by. I shall put a picture up here. I am loving that. It's such a good narration. I'm listening to it in the car on my way to work, and it is about a young girl. It's kind of a suspense mystery kind of thing. You don't quite know what's going on. It's a little bit dark, but it's about this young girl who goes to work as a caregiver to a lady who has had a stroke, who lives in this big mansion on the cliffs, who had a stroke. She can't talk, but she can type with one hand. And basically her family was murdered and she was kind of blamed for it. She didn't get, there obviously wasn't enough evidence to convict her, but she's lived in this old house ever since, and she has this caregiver. So this caregiver, this young girl, goes in, and that's where the story kind of starts unfolding as to what actually happened to Lenora Hope's family. And I am loving that. That is really good. Sorry, I've got floof up my nose. So I'm reading that at the moment as well. I have read so many books over the last months. And actually I will put my Storygraph down below because there have been some really good books. There have been a couple of humdingers, but there's been some really good ones, and I'll put my Storygraph link down in the description box. So if you want to see what I've been reading and what I thought of the books, then you're more than welcome to go and have a look at that. I actually went over to Brighton at the beginning of the summer holidays for an evening with Juno Dawson, her talking about her new book Queen Bee and other things besides, and it was just brilliant. I absolutely love her. She is so funny. She is just a brilliant creative mind, and it was a wonderful evening. So I have actually got Queen Bee to read, which I'm looking forward to, and my friend Ali, I know she read it recently and said it was amazing, because I have read quite a few of her books now, and yeah, I've loved everything that I've read. She is just such a great writer. Yeah. What else? I went to see Wicked up in London. I'd never seen Wicked, didn't even know what the story was about, apart from how did the bad witch turn bad, or did she? And I never saw it before, so really lovely. One of my best friends took me for my birthday, not on my birthday, but we went up to London. We had a look round, had some lunch. It was the most beautiful day. And then we went to see Wicked in the evening, which was fantastic. Loved it. I also went to see Carmen at Glyndebourne Opera House, which is where my son Jack works. And I'd never seen an opera before, and Glyndebourne is the place to go in the country if you want to go and see opera. And I absolutely loved it. It made me cry. It was just the most beautiful, surreal experience. But I absolutely adored that. And we did that for my dad's birthday, which was lovely. Dad is fine. He is looking fab, actually. He has lost loads of weight intentionally, and he is feeling fitter, and he looks really healthy, and he's as handsome as ever. And I am hoping to do a bit of vlogging in October, and so I'm sure you will see him, because there's lots of things that have gone on with him, but him and his little dog Floss are absolutely fine. I feel like I'm now just rambling. And I think that's probably enough. You probably don't want to hear any more of me going on and on and on. What are my plans for knitting moving forward? Well, I want to finish these. I don't know, I fancy a beret. I fancy, my friend Gaynor told me about is it the Biz beret? And I fancy a beret because I think with my curls, it's not going to kind of flatten them. So I'm thinking I might go a beret this year. And I have got some yarn up in my stash, which is all in the loft. Our loft is all boarded and sealed, so it's very dry up there. I have got some yarn that Jack bought me when he went up to Whistle Bear, and it's this beautiful raspberry colour. So I might rake that out. I need to check the pattern and see if that would work. But I quite fancy making a beret. And as I said, I want to make another cardigan. So watch this space. But I just wanted to touch base with you. I hope you are all keeping well. Let me know what you're working on. Let me know what you're reading. It'd be really nice to reconnect with you. And also thank you for all the messages. I had a lot of messages asking me if I was okay. And it was lovely. But again, I felt quite overwhelmed. So it doesn't mean to say don't do it, because it was really nice to hear from you. But yeah, it's just that kind of guilt. that guilt, but I've moved on from that. I've kind of healed. But thank you for all your lovely messages and well wishes. It was so lovely of you. But I'm going to be back on Instagram, and yeah, it's nice to be here. So until the next vlog, take care. Thanks for watching.